everybody. Today we're going to make this card. The base of your card is going to be cut at 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. Okay, and then this is where we get to use that patterned paper I made using the shaving cream and re-inking drops. This one I made used all the colors. It used the pumpkin spice, the old olive, the saffron, and I believe I also used Cajun craze. But this one is just the old olive, the pumpkin spice, and the saffron re-inking drops. And I showed you how to do that in a previous video. Just revert back to that one to find out how I did this. And this piece of paper was cut down to 3 5/8 by 2 3/4. And then I used the patterned, I will put it down on this frame, what exactly this is called, but I believe this is Melon-Mambo, but it's in the Brights collection. It's a patterned stack of paper, and this was cut at 3 3/8 by 2 1/2. And then I actually already went ahead and stamped this image, trying to save time since I only had 10 minutes. And this is, all the white paper is the very vanilla cardstock, and this is cut at 3 1/8 by 2 1/4. Okay, and this image is from the Hello Blossom stamp, and it's one of my favorites. It's from the Summer Mini, and I'm going to take my Safron Classic Ink, and I'm going to stamp up, or ink up the Hello Blossom stamp with the Saffron, and I'm just going to stamp it all over the page. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take this sort of little, from the For Everything stamp set, I'm going to take this little flower right here, and I'm going to use Melon-Mambo and Tangerine Tango, but I'm going to use them one at a time. I'm going to use the Melon-Mambo first. And I'm just going to stamp around the page with it a few times. Ink it up nicely. There. And there. Okay. I'm going to use my my Stampin' Scrub, the Stampin' Mist, a little bit right now, and just get it nice and clean. Alright, and now I'm going to use the Tangerine Tango, and I'm going to do the same thing, just stamp around the page. I'm really clumsy today. Do however many of them you want. That looks good. In order to stamp this image down, I actually used the Stampin' Right markers, and I used Old Olive for the stems and this kind of little grass part down here. I used some Tangerine Tango, and I just colored in the blossoms, about half of it, so I would color in about half of each blossom with Tangerine Tango. And then I used also the Melon-Mambo Stampin' Right marker, and again I colored in the other half of the flower with the Melon-Mambo, so it gives sort of this pretty two-tone color on to the buds. And then for the letters for the hello inside of the marker, I used Old Olive, and I just colored in the HELLO, and that's when I used my 3/8 hole punch from the Itty Bitty punch set and punched out the letters. Alright, so there's a little bit of border left on both L's and the H, and you're going to want to cut around the letters to pull those, cut those, and then you're going to use dimensionals and pop those letters up on the dimensionals. Put it on its correct bud in the center. Alright, so see, this one looks okay. I left the border on the E because it actually looks okay when it's put into its bud, because this one's a bigger one, and I don't feel like it compromises the flower at all to leave the border on it, the little leftover bit that's in there. See, I don't know how well you can see that, but so I cut around the H, I left the E, I cut around the L's. When I put those on, you'll see, and I left the O. That's what that looks like when you're done. This is my small ticket punch, and I'm gonna ticket punch these corners out. So there are the corners cut out. Now what I'm gonna do is adhere all of this stuff, and most of you know I prefer glue. So that's what that looks like. Alright, so now I'm going to use my basic rhinestones, and I'm going to put them in the corners by the ticket punches. There we go. Then I'm going to pop these up on dimensionals. Just wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you like it. Alright. And the last step is to just sponge the edges. Alright, so I used the Tangerine Tango first. And the next color is the Melon-Mambo. And this one I didn't go in as deep into the card with. I just really got it. The corners I did, because I always like the corners to have a lot of color. But I just really did the edge. And that's done. Alright, so I did one more thing with this card, but because I don't really think, I think this already is pretty long, I think I'll just tell you how I did it. I dressed up the inside of it using the For Everything stamp set. This is the For Everything stamp set, the same as the flower came from. And I used this, and this. So, now if you want, you can use the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig to line this stem up with this flower. I just eyeballed it. But I used the same color palette. I used, it's easier to show you. Old Olive, and then I used my markers, my Stampin' Right markers, the Melon-Mambo for these buds and the inside of this flower, and the Tangerine Tango for the outside of the flower. And then here I used the Tangerine Tango. I think maybe I used the rock and roll method with this one, where I stamped it down real well with the Tangerine Tango, and then I rock and rolled it into the Melon-Mambo. I think that's what I did. So that's the inside of the card, and that's the outside of the card, and there you have it. This is my Hello Blossoms card. I hope you all had a great time. I had a great time showing you how I made this, and I look forward to seeing you all again. Thank you, and happy stamping!